Good morning to all. Good morning to one and all. Already covered Unit 1, Introduction to Operating Systems. It covers OS types, OS services, and operating system concepts. Then system calls, types of system calls. Those are the topics covered in the Unit 1. Now in today's session, shall I start Unit 2? The main core of the operating system, mainly it focuses on CPU and main memory. The main functionality of an operating system is process management, memory management. This second unit will deals with process management. It always mainly focused on how the process is going to be executed, how it creates. The second unit deals the concepts like process concepts, process state diagram, operations on process, process control block, process scheduling, scheduling queues, types of schedulers, various scheduling criteria, scheduling algorithms, finally, inter-process communication IPC, and various threading issues. These are the topics covered in Unit 2. Let us discuss one by one in detail. Process. Process concepts. An operating system executes a variety of programs. Based upon the batch operating system, the jobs are executed. In case of time sharing operating system, we are call it as either user programs or tasks. Process defined a program which is in execution state, call it as a process. Normally, execution must be done in sequential manner. First instruction followed by the second instruction, third instruction, so on. N number of instructions are executed by the CPU. That is called as a process. Or you can define in another way, a dispatchable unit of work is called as a process. A dispatchable unit of work called as a process. A process have multiple parts. The program code, also called as text section. Current activity includes program counter. Counter always keeps track of which is the next instruction going to be executed. PC is equal to PC plus 1. Program counter value equal to program counter plus 1. And process registers. Some of the temporary registers to store in between the intermediate values, you have to use processor registers. Stack containing temporary data. All the return addresses values are fetched to the stack, and your subroutines or function calls, function return statements, all will be push and popped from the stack. function parameters, return address variables. Your data section contains all global variables. Those are the variables which are declared outside the main function. You can access throughout the program. That is the data section. Heap containing memory dynamically allocated during the runtime. Heap is a dynamic storage data structure. This is your memory. That memory will hold 0 to maximum limit. You have stack. This is the space for to keep the process. Heap dynamic memory allocation will be carried out. Data section and your text section. This is all. The entire division of the main memory can be carried out by the operating system itself. Now, first of all, let us discuss about what are the main differences you have observed between program and a process. Means a program is a passive entity stored on a disk. Process is an active entity. Program becomes process when executable file is loaded into the memory. Till now, the memory is allocated to a process, then only it becomes process. Otherwise, it will be a program. Always your program will be stored in the secondary storage disk. Execution of program starts via GUI mouse clicks or command line entry of its name. One's program can be several processes. Means your program can be divided into multiple number of processes. Consider multiple users executing the same program. Because OS supports always multi-programming. Executing more than one program at a time in the main memory is called as a multi-programming. Means one program is in execution state, other process must be in waiting state. That is a normal way. Now, see what are the differences between program and process. These are the various differences. You make it as a screenshot otherwise. Program contains a set of instructions designed to complete a specific task. Program means it performs any specific task. For example, the user wants to calculate the factorial of a given number. There is a task. If you want to execute that task, you have to use program. Program contains a set of particular program. Process. A process is an instance of an executing program. Otherwise, an running state active entity as it created during execution and loaded into the main memory. Program exists at a single place and continues to exist until it is deleted. Your program will be loaded into the secondary storage. Whenever the user don't want, then only it will be removed from the disk. Otherwise, until that, the program must be available in the hard disk. Process exists for a limited span of time as it gets terminated after the completion of a task. The process will be, execution will be held at main memory. The process is running. After the successful completion of that execution, it will be removed from the main memory. That is called as successful termination. Program is a static entity. Process is a dynamic entity. Means during the runtime of the process, you have to include your return values, stack variables or global variables, and some functions also included during the runtime. But in case of program, it is a static entity. During the compile time only, you have to supply all the subroutines or all the functions values also supplied during the compile time. Hence, it is a static entity. Program does not have any resource requirement. It only requires memory space for storing the instructions. Means program is a high level language program, you know, Python, Java, C or CPP, whatever may be the programming languages. Depending upon the user's requirements, the program must need only the memory space to store those instructions. Means based upon the LOC, line of code, how many number of instructions you want to store, that many number of instructions are going to be stored in the secondary storage memory. Only that is the requirement to store a program. But in case of process has a high resource requirement. It needs resources like CPU, memory address, IO during its lifetime. Means while executing the process, it needs various resources like CPU need to execute, memory address to place into the main memory, IO input output values supplied during its execution, during its lifetime. These are the resources are required. All IO devices, input output devices are required. Program does not have any control block. Program just is a group of instructions written by the programmer with meaningful code that perform a task. That's enough. Process has its own control block called as a process control block. Means a process maintains one block. That block will store all the attributes of the process. Once process is created and it placed into the main memory and ready for its execution, it maintains various information. That information will be maintained in a data structure called as process control block, PCB, or task control block, TCB. Means PCB contains all the information about various process attributes. Have longer lifespan. The lifespan will be the more, but process has the limited lifespan. Process have a limited lifespan. Means within that execution time, after the closing brace will be there, means end of that execution, automatically the process is dead. That is called as a limited lifespan. These are the various differences between program and a process. You have to follow all these differences. It's a very, very important question in the second unit. You have to follow. Then process states. As a process executes, it changes its state. Means you have a new state. Normally, every process must be of initially only two states. One is running state, second one as not running state. It is called as a two process state model or two state process model. One as running state, second one as not running state. Then you have three process state model, three state model, running state, not running state, waiting or blocked state. That is called as the three state process diagram. Two state process diagram indicates only you have running state, not running state. Means whether the process must be in either running state or not running state. Not running state means waiting for get the chance of CPU. That is called as a not running state. Coming to the three state process model, you have running state, not running state, otherwise blocked or waiting state. Three states are there. Now let us discuss about five state process model. We have a five states. One has new state. The process is being created. Running state, instructions are being executed by the CPU. And waiting state, the process is waiting for some event to occur, either IO or some any intermediate action is going to be taken in between. That is waiting state. And then ready state, the process is waiting to be assigned to a processor. After waiting, it will be again moved to the ready state. And terminated state, the process has finished the execution. Means entire process execution is completed. That is called as a terminated state. Now let us see this diagram. This is a five state process diagram. Just discuss one by one. First new process ready to create a new process at this stage and admit it into the ready queue. Here one data structure is available, that is the ready queue. That queue will hold all the processes which are ready for execution. Then the dispatcher scheduler will be there to dispatch to the running state. Means all the instructions are going to be executed at this level. After successful execution, we have exit system call and terminated. This is normal execution. New, ready, running, exit. That is normal termination. For example, whether in execution, some IO or event wait will be occur. Means if the user wants to enter the input output values, then that process may be moved to the waiting queue or blocked queue, or call it as waiting or blocked state. This process must be in the waiting queue. After that, IO will be completion. Again move to the ready queue. Then it will be moved to the running queue, running state to the terminated state. For example, if the process may be abnormal termination, during the running state an interrupt will be occurred. An interrupt means external hardware signal which is obtained to the CPU in between the execution, that is called as an interrupt signal. Whenever you have an interrupt signal, the process again move to the ready state. After handling that interrupt, again it move to the ready to running and final terminated. Means here you should observe these 5 states. First as new state, second one as ready state, running state, waiting or blocked state. In some textbooks they may be called as blocked state or waiting state, both are same. Means some amount of time it will be in the waiting position, waiting for the chance of CPU or IO devices or any purpose, it will be halted. That is called as a blocked state or waiting state. Exit is a system call to complete the entire execution. Whenever this process is exited, the process is completely terminated. This is the 5-state process model. Consider you have a 2-state only. This is ready, this is running. Only these 2 states only available. Consider you have a 3-state model: ready, running, and waiting. These 3 states only possible. You have the final 5-state process model: new, ready, running, waiting, and terminated. These are the 5-state process diagram. Any doubts in 5-state process model? Okay. Now let us discuss about process control block. Means it is a data structure which holds all the process related information. You are called as process attributes. You are called as a process attributes. The information associated with each process, the information associated with each process will be stored in the block called as a process control block, or you have task control block, TCB, or PCB, process control block or task control block. Here information associated with each process called as a task control block. It is the entire information regarding process. It maintains process state. That state may be either any one of the 5 states, either ready, running, or new, or blocked. Whatever may be the state of the currently executing process, that is maintained by the state. Program counter, location of the next instruction to be executed. This is program counter. And CPU registers, contents of all general purpose registers are maintained in this PCB. All the intermediate results will be stored in these registers. And we have the memory limits, memory management information, memory allocation to the process. How much is allocated to that particular process? After that successful execution, it will be deallocated. The process means it will be removed from the memory. Accounting information, CPU used on clock time. Clock means some timer will be there. Within the timer signal, the amount of time will be allocated to that CPU. Within that particular amount of time, the process is going to be executed. Whenever timer will use a signal, that is timeout signal, automatically the process will be removed from the main memory because it is terminated. For example, normally you have the class at 10, you have to 10:50, that is the duration. After 10:51, some timer signal or alarm signal will be given to you, automatically close the current session. In the similar fashion, you have to, based upon the timeout signal, time in, time out. Time in means entry time, time out means exit time. After successful execution, within the given stipulated amount of time only, the process is going to be executed by the CPU. Okay. Then CPU scheduling information means all the priorities also assigned. Means normally you have two types of processes are there. One as user process, second one as system process or kernel processes. All these types of processes have some of the priorities assigned to each and every process. For example, system process will have the highest priority than the user processes. Means system programs always have the highest priority or highest privilege than the user programs. That is the CPU scheduling information. And list of open files. How many files are opened so far? How many are completed? Entire status information will be maintained. This is called as a process control block, PCB or TCB, task control block. Once again, I revise the entries in the PCB. Process state information, whether may be of any 5 types, either ready, new, running, waiting and terminated, and process number or process ID. Whenever you have to create a child process using fork system call, as I explained in the system call concept, fork, it creates the child process. It generates an automatic ID, that is the process number. Means which is, with the help of this process ID, which process is going to be executed. That is called as a process number or process ID. And program counter, which is the location of the next instruction to be executed. The value will be updated. Registers, all general purpose registers. Memory limits, list of open files. Another name for PCB called as a task control block. Means the entire information associated with each process is called as the PCB, or otherwise you can say it as all the process attributes are placed into the PCB or TCB. Entire means, for example, the CPU wants to execute n number of processes. OS will create n number of PCBs, PCB1, PCB2, so on, n number of PCBs. Means for each and every process, it creates one block. That is called as a process control block. We have 3 processes, P1, P2, P3. P3 PCBs are there, PCB1, PCB2, PCB3 likewise. Okay, let us discuss about operations on processes. Operating system provide mechanism for various operations on process. Means 4 types of major operations you have. First one, process creation. Second one, scheduling, execution, and process termination. Once the process is created, it will be ready and come into the ready queue and will ready for the execution. Means in the new state, it is created and it will be dispatched to the move to the ready state. Whenever the process is created means just born. After that, it will be placed into the ready state and ready for the execution to get the CPU chance. Scheduling is the second operation. It is the, out of many processes present in the ready queue holds more number of processes, P1, P2, so on, Pn number of processes present in the ready queue. The operating system choose one process and start executing it. Selecting the process, which is to be executed next is known as scheduling. Selecting a particular process and assigned to that CPU done by the scheduler. A scheduler is a software program which assigns a particular process to the CPU and which is the next executing process decided by the scheduler itself. The entire process you are called as scheduling. Okay, this is called as a scheduling. Coming to the next third operation, you have process execution. Once the process is scheduled for the execution, the processor or CPU starts executing it. Process may come to the blocked state or waiting state during the execution. Then in that case, the process starts executing to the other process. In case of multi-programming, you consider P1 and P2. P1 must be in execution state, P2 also in waiting state. For example, P1 switch to the waiting state, P2 goes to the running state. That is the concept behind the multi-programming. Means, for example, one must be in running state, other must be in waiting state. P2 must be in waiting state, P1 must be in running state. Likewise, you have to consider three processes, P1, P2, P3. P1 is in running state, P2, P3 both are kept in the blocked state or waiting state. For example, P2 goes to the running state, P1, P3 must be in the waiting state. P3 goes to the running state, then P1, P2 must be in the waiting state. That entire scheduling will be carried out by the operating system. There is a must, first and foremost function is the scheduling. Selecting the process which is to be executed next is known as scheduling. You have P1, P2, Pn number of processes are there. Selecting based upon either some scheduling policies are there, either FCFS or SJF or round robin or priority scheduling. I will be covered in the next coming sessions. Scheduling algorithms or policies. Based upon the scheduling algorithm, the OS must identify and assign to that CPU. Means one process must be in running state, all other remaining processes must be in the waiting state, in the waiting queue. Once again I repeat, execution. Once the process is scheduled for the execution, the processor starts executing it. Processor may come to the blocked, process may come to the blocked or wait state during the execution. Then in this case, the processor starts executing other processes. Here you should refer the two terms. Processor means your CPU, central processing unit, called as a processor. Process means a program which is going to be executed, or running state of a program called as a process. Means once the process is scheduled for execution, P1 is scheduled for execution and it is placed in the main memory, and CPU gets executed the instructions one by one. The processor starts executing it. The process may come out to the blocked or waiting state during the execution. Means if any interrupt may be occur or some IO required, with the help of IO request, it will be moved to the waiting state. Then at this case, another process must be assigned to the processor. That is called as, without wastage of your CPU time, the execution is going to be taken place. Means consider in case of MS DOS single programming concept, which will execute only one program at a time. Means P, only single P, that will be assigned to the CPU. It will be executed. It may take, for example, 1 hour or 2 hours. Entire task is going to be completed. The entire remaining time of the CPU is idle. Means you can waste the valuable time of the CPU. For that purpose, to avoid that wastage of the CPU time, you can go for multi-programming. Means in that single programming, you have only efficiency maybe 50%, because half of the time will be idle, the CPU. Memory is also not at all used properly, only one program, so much available memory. Then to avoid that drawback, go for multi-programming. In case of multi-programming, you have to execute more than one program. Always the CPU will busy in executing one after other processes. That is called as the CPU utilization may be increased up to some 90%, because in an efficient OS, the efficiency may be of up to 90%, because most of the time will be in between IO waits or some interrupt handling. That's why the efficiency may not be 100%. Normally, it is a 90% efficient system. Whenever you are multi-programming or time sharing or multitasking, consider any type of operating system, the OS CPU utilization is 90%. Then you are called as a efficient utilization of CPU is carried out by the operating system, because it executes multiple programs based upon concurrent execution. Means one will be goes to the waiting, other process must be swapped to the running state, other one will be goes to the waiting, other process must be into the waiting, running, waiting, running, waiting, running. Likewise, the CPU will be switched in between two states. That is called as the context switching. Means the CPU will be moved from either running state to the blocked state or waiting state, vice versa. They are called as context switching. Already explained in case of user mode and kernel mode execution. The movement of one mode to the other mode, you are called as the context switching. That movement will be carried out by the dispatcher. It is a module to dispatch the process from one state to the other state. That is called as the dispatcher. Always that entire execution information will be maintained by the PCB. First of all, it will be entered ready state. Then entering into the main memory ready for execution, and CPU also assigned. Then you are called as running state. Whenever an IO occur, then it goes to the blocked state. After that, IO will be entered, IO values, input values are entered, execution successfully, and return the output values to the user, and successful terminated. Whenever the termination is going to be done, automatically the process is removed from the memory pool, and it will be removed from the PCB also. That is regarding process termination. Once the purpose of process gets over, means entire execution is completed, then the OS will kill the process. Kill means completely terminate the process. The context means the entire process attributes and the entire information about that process will be deleted, and the process gets terminated by the operating system. Means at this moment, the process must completely removed from the memory pool. Completely removed from the memory pool. After successful termination only, it will be completely removed by the operating system. Those are the various operations, main operations on processes. First one as process creation, scheduling, execution, process termination, and some other operations also there.
ఎవరు
ఇది వచ్చి వెళ్ళిపోయావు అంట
ఎవరికి
మొన్న ఇక్కడ వచ్చి వెళ్ళిపోయావు అంటగా మొన్న వచ్చా శనివారం
Concepts. Now I want to conclude at this moment. Today we will discuss about various process state diagram, 5-state process diagram, differences between process and program, PCB. These are the topics. These are all
అమ్మ బాగోదా
అమ్మగారు బాగోదారు ఎక్కువ అది ఏలూరు అసలు నాకు ఫోన్ చేసి నా నెంబర్ ఎట్టు వచ్చిందో అది నా మైండ్ తింటాడు ఎవడాడు
F naught Okay, with this, I'll stop the today's session. We'll continue tomorrow.